So everybody,
How you doing, Coach D? I'm George Shire, CEO of 864 Fighting Championship. This is my lovely girlfriend, Laura Motts. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for sitting down with me and having this conversation. Today, I want to tell the fight fans in the world how you two came together and how did 864 get started?
Okay. Well, about 2.5 years ago, Coach, I moved up to Spartanburg. My sister's been telling me for a long time how lovely this little town Emmon is that she lives in. So I got a job opportunity with a company I was working with to move up here, so I took it. So my son and I moved up here, and we were up here for a few months, and he was kind of getting bored and wanted something to do. So my nephew actually was training at Revolution Mixed Martial Arts. Mm-hmm. So I asked my son, I said, do you want to try mixed martial arts? And he said, yeah, you're always watching them fighting shows all the time anyways, Dad. I said, yeah, I know we watch a lot of UFC. And he kind of was interested anyway, so I took him up there. Come to find out, he's a natural talent. He's a good little fighter, man. He actually wants to be a pro fighter. So we just, we kept going every day, training hard. I actually started training as well, getting into it a little bit more. And just by going to the gym, I happened to be at Buffalo Wild Wings one night, and I was sitting beside a guy named Max Cash, and we got to talking, and we were watching the UFC fights, and he was telling me something, he was telling me about his grandson. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, you ought to bring out the Revolution Mixed Martial Arts, up there in Coach Jimmy Fowler. I said, it's a great school, family-oriented place, a real good place for a kid to get some discipline, mm-hmm. and learn a skill that he can use throughout life. Mm-hmm. So he brought him up there, and he liked it. He loved the atmosphere. So I guess him and his wife, own a beauty shop, and his wife knows Laura. So they were telling Laura about it. So she started bringing her kids up there. Mm-hmm. And, just through both of us, being at the gym with our kids, we met, and I was lucky enough to catch her eye, and she gave me a shot,
Okay. So what was your experience at Revolution? What were you there for?
I was there because my kids and just the atmosphere, self-discipline, it has made a world of difference. Mm. And my son has a passion for it, and he loves it. And so then George and my son, they started, talking a little bit, and they both share that same passion. And of course, George, he has that passion. So, we're just.
So do you train as well, or you just?
I have started a little bit.
Okay, good. Okay. So now you're both at Revolution, and you're both kind of going through everything. Your kids are enjoying it, and you're basically enjoying training. So what led into thinking about mixed martial arts?
Well, like I said, I've always been a big fan. Always had a great passion for the sport. So just being the 2.5 years I've been up at Revolution, it kind of just started out as my son training, and I started staying for some of the pro practices, just watching how them young men and women train and what kind of effort they put into it. And, I was working at Mungo Homes, as a builder, and which, by the way, is a great company. I loved working there, and so I worked with a lot of contractors who often needed fill-in help. Mm-hmm. So some of the fighters, got to talking to them, getting to know them. They would come to the house, watch fights with us, hang out, and, they'd be like, hey, any of your contractors have any extra work we could get? So I said, yeah, let me ask around. So started helping the guys getting little odds and end jobs here. And, then we got two fighters from South America, Hugo Prada and Christian Toros, come up from South America. Their manager brought them to Revolution, Hector Castro, brought them to Revolution. And, just, getting to talk with them, Ari Kramer, with the fight doctors, come to me and was like, hey, can you help these guys find some work? And I was like, yeah. So it started like that. It started for me helping them, Coach, just wanting to just genuinely help these guys live their dream. And that's how it got started.
Okay, so basically you saw them as fighters. You go, okay, you guys need help. So you started helping them out, finding jobs and so on. So where did that bug kick in to where you go, I want to go to my first show? Where did that happen?
Well, I've always watched it on TV, and I've never been to a live show. And I'm like, I'm getting to watch these young men and women train. I would like to see them perform. So I went to a USFFC. Scott Price ran that organization. And I went to one of his shows. And I actually bought a ticket from Chris Scoggins to sit in the Scoggins area. And if you ever sit in the Scoggins area, you know you've been to a show, because they get down, and they are loud, and they are proud. That's for sure. And they got a reason to be. There were some talented young men and women. The Scoggins family is. But so I went to the show, and instantly I was hooked. Yeah. I watched the production. I watched the fighters walking out, the excitement in the crowd. Me myself getting excited and heart pounding. I'm nervous for the fighters that I work with and train with, and so my heart's pounding. I right now I'm getting excited thinking about it. So. And I was hooked, man. So I just kept pushing forward, kept helping. And one day, Hugo and Christian, the job that I had them ran out. And so I was looking for work for them. So I called one of our contractors, Roy Kim. And I said, hey, man, I got a couple guys that are looking for some help. You think you might have a job for them? And Roy's like, yeah, send them up Monday morning. So Hugo and Christian, they went up there. And they're first class young men, respectful, work hard, and that's what drew me to them because they're in the gym, away from home, away from their country, away from their families, and they're putting in hard work every day. And that inspired me to help them as much as I could, And so they went and met with Roy. Roy liked the young men. He thought they had potential, and he kind of asked him, what do y'all do? And they're like, we're fighters. And he was like, well, why are you needing a job if you're a fighter? Don't you need to be training? And they were like, yeah, we'd love to train full time, but, we got to make money to live. And he said, well, maybe I can sponsor you and you can work a little bit with me and make a little extra money working with me a couple of days a week. And then, you can train full time. Okay. So that's how that got rolling. And from there, Roy started asking me more questions about MMA, and I said, well, let's go. Let me take you to a few shows. So we went to a few shows, and him and I started talking about the shows, and he was like, "What, you think you could do it?"
So at this time, you're talking about maybe considering getting more MMA. So what was it like you hearing him come home and go, "Hey, I'm thinking about talking about MMA." What was your take on it?
I just 100% supported it.
Okay.
I said, I know that that's your heart and your passion, so go for it. Okay.
So are you big into fighting too? Like, you don't mind?
I do. I love it. Okay. I love it. And, like I said, my son, he wants to eventually, be a fighter. So it's a good thing.
That's going to be in the family.
It is.
This is a fight family for sure, Coach. Okay. For sure.
So now y'all all on one accord, and everybody's in agreement. It's something that we want to pursue. Yes. So once you two made the decision, what happened next?
What happened next is I went to Roy and I said, yeah, I think we can do it better. And he said, I think we can too. And, and we both sat down and decided that our focus is going to be on fighters. We think that these fighters on this regional level, and we know, being a small promotion, we know what the struggle is. Yeah. Finances. Finances in the struggle. And so what we want to do is, we want to be focused on the fighters. Because if you focus on the fighters, you're going to put on good shows. You're going to make sure these guys are getting paid right. It's going to bring the best talent to you. You take care of them. You put them up in places that makes it easier on the weight cuts. They come in a day or two before the fight to finish the weight cut, and put them in somewhere where they're comfortable, where they got a gym, where they got a sauna. Those are the small things that we're trying to do to help build a good regional promotion with fighter focus. And if you're fighter focused, you're going to bring good fights, which is going to make the fans happy. Okay. So
going with that. So how did your passion to be around the fighters grow? Like who were some of the fighters that you took a shine to? That's like, hey, I got to see this guy succeed. I got to see them grow. Who were some of your fighters?
Well, Jared Scoggins was one of the first guys I really noticed that was on a different level. Watching this kid train, and I don't know if you've watched him train, Coach. I know you've seen videos. this kid is on a different level at 125 pounds. There's no doubt in my mind that one day that young man will be a champion in the UFC, and we'd like to help him get there. There's some other talents there. Kenny Porter. That young man is a great talent. He's a hard worker. I watch him blood, sweat, and tears in the gym. Him and Christian Toros is really close, and those guys train together. So I get to watch these young men train. I've been over to Ray Thompson's gym. He's got some great talent over there. Cody Wilson, which is at 170-pound welterweight. He's training with Stephen Thompson, who is the #1 contender in the world at 170 pounds. And in my opinion, has beat Tyrone Woodley. But my opinion don't count. I'm just a fan. But you got John Sweeney over there, who's a good talent. Carl Reed, who's an up-and-comer at 205 pounds. So, we're just getting in there, getting to know these fighters. Want to put on a great show, Coach.
So what made you decide to be more hands-on with the fighters? Because most promotions, they don't really have that type of connection with the fighters. They just, they call them up, hey, if you want to fight, we'll put you on your card. And after that, the fighters pretty much go their own separate ways, doing their own thing. What made you decide to put so many fighters under the umbrella of 864?
Well, it's just like any job that you have. You want to know who's working for you. You want to get to know these young men and women. You want to get to know what their hopes and dreams are. I mean, as a fighter, every fighter's dream is to be the world champ, to be the best in the world. So every day when they're in that gym, all they're thinking about in their head is, how do I get to be the best? What can I do to be the best in the world? And you want to get to know these people. They're fighting for you. They're bleeding for you. So the least I can do is take time to get to know them, call them, check on them, see how their health is doing. You call some of these fighters and interview them that's fighting on the 27th, and you ask them, have they gotten phone calls from 864, emails from 864? I've given my personal cell phone number to them, so if they need something or they have questions or they just need to talk to somebody, I'm that guy. I want to be friends with them. Because if you're friends with somebody, you're working together, you can do good business. Now, will you always have the same agreement? No, you're going to have disagreements. It's part of the fight game. But we want to be as close to these young men and women as we possibly can to let them know we care.
Okay. So you and Brewer are sitting down and you're doing a powwow session on the vision of 864. Where did 864 come from? Why 864?
Well, Steve Moon, who is actually the head of our sponsorship sales, we were trying to come up with a name, and Steve called us and was like, how about Team 864? And Roy and I were like, 864, yeah. We're like, Team 864. And we're thinking about it. I said, Roy, I like the 864, but Team 864 sounds like we're MMA gym. I said, so I went to Steve and Roy and I was like, how about 864 Fighting Championship? I said, well, now everybody knows we're a fighting organization. And then anywhere we go in the United States or the world, they're going to know where we come from. They're going to know exactly where we're from and what we're about. Okay.
So you being part of the team, what are some of the things you see from your end as, of course, the supporting of a promoter, what are some of the days like for you? Like dealing with the fighters? I mean, how involved are you with the fighters, like with George? What do you do with the fighters? Anything, or you just...
I'm just here, being supportive. He puts a lot of time into it, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls all day. But it's good because I know it's going to be a good thing.
So does he disrupt the house and when chaos kicks off, does he just tear the whole house down? or does he really come home and decompress, or is it all day, every day?
It's all day, every day.
That's the life.
That's good.
That's the life.
That's the way it should be.
Okay, cool. So now, you and Roy sitting down. What's the vision of 864? What do you see it going to?
In our hearts and minds, we see it going to the top. Like in our previous interview, I know that I might have ruffled some feathers saying that we are going to be the best promotion in the Southeast. You need to pause.
Yeah.
No, it's too late. It's part of the show now.
All right.
What up, Fuji?
We see it going further than just the the Southeast here. We want it to branch out further than that, but we know we got to start somewhere. So we want to build a platform here in South Carolina, here in the upstate to begin with, and then we want to branch it out. You know, we're not just doing shows at venues, but you actually can watch our shows streaming live over the internet through our own website, 864fc.com and 864tv.com. So you can't make it to the shows and you got fighters that you want to watch, guess what? Boom, $15, 864tv.com. Watch all the hot talent in the Southeast.
Let the fans know, what is your personal passion? Why this? I mean, you could do anything in the world. Why did you pick it up?
It's the greatest sport in the world, man. It's got the best talent in the world. It's got the best athletes in the world. You put an MMA athlete against any other athlete in the world, I guarantee you that MMA athlete comes out on top every time. Every time. They work the hardest. They grind the hardest. They bleed the most. They sweat the most. You know, their mental game's the strongest. You know, try breaking an MMA fighter and see how that works for you. You know, they go in that cage, they break each other, and they come back stronger. You know, it's like an animal. You know, animals don't feel sorry for themselves. You know, they fight hard, they bleed, they sweat. You know, it's because they're hungry, just like fighters. They're just trying to feed themselves, just like fighters. And in order for a fighter to be fed, you got to give them somebody to fight. You got to give them a competition. So that's what we want to do. We want to keep them fed.
So what can we expect from January 27th? Your first promotion. What can we expect?
Fireworks. It's gonna be a heck of a show. It's gonna be a heck of production. You know, it's our first show there at the Marriott in Spartanburg. We're hoping, you know, to pack the house out. You know, if you're looking for good talent in the Southeast, you need to come to the show on the 27th here in Spartanburg at the Marriott, and you'll get to see some great talent. You know, you got Keith Richardson and Andrew Whitney fighting in the main event. You got Jared Scoggins, Dexter Wright fighting in the co-main event. You know, so you're gonna have, you know, that's a fireworks show right there. You know, and some people are gonna go to sleep. Some people are gonna get tapped. Some people are gonna go to war. It's gonna be that kind of night.
So so who are some of the people that helped this come to life? What are some people that you want to say, hey, you know, they were pivotal in seeing this thing come together? Who's some of the guys that have flopped?
You know, people that's helped me out a lot is, you know, Revolution MMA, you know, for just allowing me to come into their gym and be a part of that family and to get more involved. They allowed me to be more involved. You know, the fight doctors, Dr. Ari Kramer and Dr. Chris Chittum, you know, they helped me get involved. They allowed me to be a part of that family as well. You know, definitely Roy Kim for having enough faith in me to start this organization and get involved as well. You know, people like Ray Thompson, who I call up. The man doesn't know who I am. I called him and asked him, can I come to his gym, sit down and talk with you? You know, and he welcomed me into his gym, you know. Very, very nice man, you know, very professional. You know, and just like Coach Jimmy Fowler over at Revolution, they both love their fighters. They care for their fighters. They're going to do anything they can to make their fighters better. And all of those folks have helped me be where I am now. And I appreciate that. And, you know, Steve Moon, he's been a great help to 864. Matthew Granahan's been great help to 864. You know, you know, now we got Stephan Bonner on board coming to broadcast. You know, that's going to be a big thing for us. We're possibly talking about some fights with some guys that formerly in the UFC that want to go ahead and have their last fight with 864 and retire. You know, that's coming up. You know, Roger Carroll, you know, that man, you know, he's another gym owner that's been great. Always staying in contact, always trying to make something happen for his fighters, always looking to keep them fed, keep them fighting. You know, he's another guy that you know you can depend on if you need a fighter. It's people like that I got to say thank you to, because I wouldn't be here without them. And we all got to say thank you to the fighters, because we wouldn't be here without them as well. You know, at the end of the day, they're the ones that get in the cage and and go to war for us. So thank you from 864 family.
Okay. Now this part is for the fans. Leave the fans with something that you, from your heart, that you want the fans to truly understand about 864.
What I want the fans to understand about 864 is that we care, we care what our fans think about. We care about the level of entertainment that we're going to bring to the table for you. We care about our fighters. We want to make sure they're healthy. We want to make sure they're making safe weight cuts. We want to help change some rules, that are in South Carolina that's going to benefit the fighter. Early weigh-ins, different times for amateurs showing up earlier than pros, so the pros don't have to sit there 5 or 6 hours at the venue before their fight. Small little things like that just need to be tweaked to make the system run a little bit better and make the fighters more comfortable. So when they come to the cage, they come with everything they got. That their minds are free and that their bodies are healthy. That's important. That's what's going to make a great show, and that's where 864 comes from, Coach. And that's my heart.
All right, I hear you. All right, go ahead and say, hey, fight fans, get ready to come out January 27th. Let the fans know what's going to be.
Hey, January 27th, Spartanburg, South Carolina. The Spartanburg Marriott. It's going to be a fireworks show. If you're not there, you are missing out. If you cannot be there, 864tv.com. $15, the best $15 you'll spend this year. Let's get it done.
All right, sounds like good, and we are